Good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam. Principal madam, good morning, madam.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to all.
Good morning, ma'am.
Hello,
Just
Manjeet and
another,
Munir, your Rupa,
Yes, ma'am.
Basri.
Yes, ma'am.
just another 3-4 minutes is there, madam. We'll start in 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, take your time. I see there are a good number of participants, 70 are there.
Yes, yes. Actually, 270, I think they
Registered.
are registered.
You have put it in NDLI?
No, not in NDLA, madam. We are general service. This is not under LDLA vacat, madam. Actually, we don't have idea. And under IST, it is there.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Siva Reddy, sir.
Sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good
Sorry
morning,
to
Shiva
interrupt
Reddy,
you,
sir.
Actually, it is 378, sir.
378, 378.
378, yeah.
My God, you need another 300 to join.
Yeah. Manjeet?
Yes, sir.
Professor Himanshu has joined?
He actually just called me, sir. Let me ask him.
Yeah.
He's just calling me. Yeah. Sir, Dr. Gupta has actually reached his office, so he is joining within a few minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome, sir. Dr. Gupta has joined, sir.
Yeah.
Good morning, Professor Himanshu Gupta. I'm Nayanthara here.
Good morning, sir. I am Dr. Venkatraman, head of mechanical department, and Professor Nayanthara madam is our principal, sir.
Is muted.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir. And meet our vice principal, sir, Professor LC Siva.
Namaste, sir. Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Rupasri, we can start the proceedings.
You have to unmute yourself.
Rupasri madam, unmute. Rupasri madam, unmute yourself.
I think maybe some co-host issue is there, so
Yeah.
he is resolving.
She is speaking to Lava Kumar, it seems.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Sir, I just joined, sir. Please make me co-host, sir. Sorry for the delay, sir. I was not given permission to unmute my mic. Let me share the screen. A very warm morning to all the dignitaries, professors, colleagues, students, and all the participants who have joined the program. I, MRS Rupasri, Assistant Professor of Mechanical Engineering Department, cordially invite you to the 1 week faculty development program on post-COVID green and sustainable development practices in manufacturing industries. I take the privilege to provide you the inaugural session agenda. I invite our chief guest, Professor Himanshu Gupta, Assistant Professor, IIT Dhanbad, to this event. Please welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. I invite Professor K.S. Nayanthara, Principal of our college. Please welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
I invite Professor L.C. Sivareddy, sir, Vice Principal of our college. Please welcome to the event, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. I invite Professor M. Venkatramana, Professor and HOD of our department. Please welcome, sir.
Good morning, all.
I invite all of you to the lighting of the lamp of today's session, though we are doing it virtually. Now, I request our HOD, Professor M. Venkatramana, to give us the welcome address.
Yeah. Chief guest of today's function, Professor Himanshu Gupta of IIT Dhanbad, who is expert in the area of operations and supply chain management. And he is among the 2% of most cited scientists in the world in the area of supply chain management. And principal of our college, Professor K.S. Nayanthara Madam, Vice Principal Sir, Professor L.C. Sivareddy Garu, colleagues and participants. A very good morning to all of you. I welcome you all to the inaugural function of Faculty Development Program on Post-COVID Green and Sustainable Development Practices in the Manufacturing Industries. Sustainable manufacturing is an emerging area which is essentially focusing on understanding various challenges the manufacturing sector faces to implement the sustainable. Especially this area is much more challenging in this COVID situation. And this area is a highly potential area for faculty to work for PhD and for a publication in Scopus or SCA journals. Already, one of our faculty members is working for PhD in this area from BITS Pilani, Hyderabad. And few of our faculty members are working for publications in this area. And Dr. Manjeet has suggested this is a potential area that all of our faculty members need to get trained, which empowers our faculty to go for good publication. Of course, we have been planning this particular program for the last 1.5 years and 2 years, but because of the international conference and COVID situations, it is continuously getting postponed. And of course, thank God, now it has become a reality. And the main purpose of this particular program is to empower our faculty members and participants to use these sustainable development practices and work for a PhD and for a publication. This faculty development program provides an opportunity for participants to interact with the experts in the area of sustainable manufacturing. I hope participants will utilize faculty development program, and I wish a fruitful interaction in the next 1 week. And I thank the management, our chairman, Dr. C.V. Raghava, and our advisor, Professor Masudan Reddy Garu, for always encouraging us to conducting such programs. Thank you all. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Dr. Manjeet Karub, Associate Professor of our college, to give the details of FDP to the participants.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Good morning, all. Good morning, all participants and all dignitaries to join the FDP. So the world sustainable development and sustainability, recently they have become very popular, and they were all about all over these news and in newspaper. So the what is these sustainable and sustainable development? They all are meant to make our world a better place, not only for us but for our future generations. They suggest to manufacture without jeopardizing the future of future generation resources. So if you want to know whether the product is sustainable or not, just ask yourself, can we make that product again and again and forever? So if the product is manufacturable, remanufacturable, then the product is sustainable, otherwise not. So the current situation where we are facing scarcity for the resources and make us to move towards the sustainable development. So the overall idea of sustainable development propose that we need to look after three important parameters, and those are climate, economic, as well as social development. So when we discuss about our climate, we need to take care about how we are manufacturing our product and what impact they are making on our climate. For example, if we emit more CO2, they will increase the temperature, and reverse effect will be we can say global warming and all that. And recently we have seen that the COVID-19 is also we can say the result of unsustainable development. Somewhere else we have done something that we should not do. We have changed the climate system. And the second important parameter is economic development. So whatever we are making, what are the distribution system we are using for that, and how the product is being disposed of, that we should keep in mind. And to contribute in sustainable development, we should at least know that where our end product goes. So last but not least, the social development. We human are a part of nature, but as water, as sun, and for other renewable resources, our mind is also a resource for the world. So we can function better if we get all opportunities like equal rights, equal education and medicines. So sustainable development also look after this matter. So why the sustainable development in manufacturing is the important? So that is why the field the theme of FMEA is sustainable development in manufacturing sector. So recently during COVID, when we were fighting against COVID, we have seen that we faced a tremendous challenge in making the supply chain management to the end user. At some place there was a huge supply, and at one place we were facing of because of the shortage. So if we had prepared our supply chain management before, we would have saved our so many life. So this is the importance of sustainability in manufacturing sector. And the manufacturing sector has direct link with all three parameters: economic, as well as our social life, as well as climate change. So that is why sustainability in manufacturing sector is very important. And if you see the recent publications, all are directing us towards the sustainability. So we have Dr. Gupta, who is expert in this, so I will not take much time, and I would like to go forward that Dr. Gupta will put more light on the topic. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. I now request Professor L.C. Sivareddy, sir, to address the gathering.
Today's chief guest, Himanshu Gupta, IIT Dhanbad, Principal Madam, Head of the Department, participants for the FDP program. I think it is apt that this particular topic, on this topic, we are holding this faculty development program. The only thing I have, when they have said post-COVID, so I think it is not post-COVID. We have to live with COVID. We are midst of pandemic. And so it is not post-COVID, but as part of the COVID, we have to do these things. I think the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN mentions that no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water. So like that, there are in fact, there are 17 goals that were mentioned as part of the UN resolutions. So I think even few of them, if we are able to, in that direction, if we will work, so I think world is going to be a better place. I think as Dr. Manjeet Karoop said, the manufacturing process where they would like to utilize the reduce waste, utilize the things, and see that it will not affect the environment. So that is one of the things. I think in this direction, we have to include the efforts of everyone. So it is not that one particular country does it and others doesn't do it. So that we know now in the COVID situation, we have learned. So somewhere it starts and then it spreads entire world. So unless we, as a whole on the planet, okay, if we have to survive, then we have to contribute, and then we have to consume less and see that whatever that we are doing, we are going to do it in a sustainable way. So I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. I now request Professor K.S. Nayanthara, Principal of our college, to address the participants.
Good morning to all the dignitaries. Dr. Himanshu Gupta, the chief guest from IIT Dhanbad, the Vice Principal, Professor L.C. Sivareddy, the head of the department, Professor M. Venkatramana, the convener, Dr. Manjeet Karoop, my learned colleagues, and participants of the faculty development program on post-COVID green and sustainable development practices in manufacturing industries. At the outset, let me congratulate the Department of Mechanical Engineering and the convener for organizing this program to create awareness of green and sustainable practices in manufacturing. As the head of the department has mentioned, this is very essential for the faculty to work on as a research topic. You have, as you go deeper, you will find many more topics to really research upon. And the students to be aware that when they take up a job in the core industry, that these are being practiced by that particular industry. And coming to the topic, as I am from the ECE branch, I really do not know much about it, but I just try to gather a few points because I have been asked to speak for a few minutes. So sustainable manufacturing and green manufacturing, is a method for manufacturing that minimizes waste and reduces the environment impact. The practices adopted influence the product design, the process, and operational principles. So planning and control of issues so as to identify, quantify, assess, and manage the flow of environmental waste by reducing environmental impact to a level that the earth can deal with its self-recovery capability. These are the essential topics, I think. At the same time, resource efficiency must be maximized. The life cycle assessment is an important tool in this endeavor. And green companies are serious about carbon footprint and climate change and have credible plans to transform to greener levels. I am really not sure about post-COVID, but I am only talking about green companies. So for example, Samsung Semiconductors has achieved significant reduction in the amount of carbon emissions, water use, and waste discharge across all their sites. So they are now making, they are making integrated circuits, and which we call as chips. So now they are making green chips as per their commitment to climate change. So they have been awarded triple standard for carbon, water, and waste by the Carbon Trust. The company uses less raw materials, reduces carbon emissions in all stages of processes, and recycles product waste. So in short, eco-friendly technology is adopted. So almost all the areas of manufacturing, any area where let us think of a few of them. And alternative fuel vehicles are used. In aviation, also biofuel is being used. And doors and garage doors where maximum carbon emission takes place, they are also being made with different materials to reduce the carbon emission. And in household, SC Johnson company, the Ziploc plastic bags that we use, they are now being used with better materials so that the Ziploc bags have eliminated million pounds of volatile organic compounds and polyvinylidene chloride from its items. So some companies like Coca-Cola are accused of greenwashing. So hence, ethics is an important aspect when a company decides to go green. So whatever company is manufacturing, they should remember that it is for the good of the humanity, and there should be no aspect which is going to create a problem for anyone, anywhere in the world. Like, it is not that the third world can take up electronic waste for dumping. So such things should not be used. Like I mentioned before also, there should be less exploitation and more conservation. And in India also, some of the states, they are preparing lunch boxes and other bottles for storage made with rice husk. And these are replacing the plastic ones. And in the Araku Valley, you find coffee mugs made of bamboo. So whatever material is available locally, so those can be used for our daily usage. So consumers' preference needs to shift in order to sustain the efforts of companies, like our vice principal has mentioned, and demand for green products. Since demand and supply lead to manufacture and consumption, every consumer is responsible for the environment and must do one's bit in this endeavor. Wishing the program success with fruitful insights into case studies and intellectual interactions. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. All the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your words of wisdom have given us a path of thinking of what are the topics that we are going to go through in the FDP. Thank you so much. I now request Professor Himanshu Gupta, sir, to give us the inaugural address.
Thank you, ma'am. And I would like to, first of all, thank Professor Nayantara, Professor Sivareddy, Professor Venkataraman, and Professor Manjit Khara for inviting me and giving me opportunity to speak and interact on this very important topic, that is sustainable manufacturing practices, especially during COVID and post-COVID scenario that we are having. So most of things about the importance of this particular topic have been summarized. So I will just like to add on that whenever we talk about sustainability or sustainable manufacturing practices, we talk mainly about the environmental practices. So environmental practices are, we can say, most important aspect of sustainability, but there are two other perspectives also, that is economic and social. And nowadays, companies, especially they are being pushed by government regulations also, they are focusing on the social aspect of it. Although their prime concern is to make more profit and look towards the economic perspective, but now the social perspective is equally important. And especially when we are talking about this post-COVID or during COVID, that social aspect has also become very important, because we have seen people losing their jobs. We have seen people suffering a lot. We can take the example of the importance of this sustainability practices in the world, because now each day we are listening or coming towards news like we have a shortage of semiconductors across the world, and that shortage has led to many manufacturing organizations suffering in terms of producing their products, like mainly the automobile industry and the electronics component manufacturing industries are suffering. And that is not only when we talk about from the environmental perspective, there are certain reasons for that. COVID is the prime reason that COVID has led to various job losses. There are people who are not coming on the port. We have seen congestions on the ports there because labor is also not available, and there are certain other things that are not available. And also in chip manufacturing industry or semiconductor manufacturing industry, similar things are happening that is hampering the whole supply chain. And its impact is so much that it is not looking, this impact is not visible like as such so much, but in future that will be visible with many small companies that will be shut down. And government is doing its bit. As we have seen, Indian government has announced that they will be investing in semiconductor manufacturing in India. So that is not only from the economic perspective or environmental perspective. People are thinking from the social perspective. When we talk about the sustainability, we have to think about social sustainability also. We have to think about people who are involved, employees who are involved, their well-being, and so that they can contribute towards the overall SDG goals that were set up by you. Now, COVID has led to a lot of suffering. COVID has led to a lot of disruptions. But when we talk about from our teaching perspective, or now we talk about conducting such FDPs, COVID has actually given us an opportunity to explore what was thought impossible 2 years back, that we can now have these sort of programs and we can conduct classes online also. The benefit of conducting these FDPs, we know that we are able to interact with people across the globe. We can easily now, just by sitting at our place, we can easily interact with people across the globe and learn about the new things. And I will like to congratulate the department college also for organizing FDP on such an important topic, so that we can all learn from whatever knowledge we have. We can share our knowledge and think about the future, because we are going to train the future leaders and we are also going to work in that direction. So with that, I will end my address here and let you continue with the other things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now request Mr. P. Lavakumar, Associate Professor of our department, to propose vote of thanks. Lavakumar, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. A very good morning to all of you. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of me and the Department of Mechanical Engineering, a heartfelt thanks to our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Himanshu Gupta, for his valuable presence. Sir, we all are thankful to you for your precious time. Your words have truly encouraged and motivated us, and we will follow your valuable advices and guidelines. And a special and a heartfelt thanks to Dr. Raghava Cherabuddi, Chairman CVR, Dr. K.S. Nayanatara, Principal CVR, and Professor Shiva Reddy, Vice Principal, for their presence and their support to conduct this FDP. And I would like to thank Mr. M. Venkatramana Garu, HOD Mechanical, for his continuous encouragement and support in organizing this event. And special thanks to Dr. Manjit Karu, convener, who took this initiative to organize this FDP. And I would like to thank all the faculty who involved in organizing of this event. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. The sessions are going to start at 10:40 a.m. So I request all the participants to stay back in the meeting. And thank you all for joining the inaugural session. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Himanshu. Thank you, Principal Madam. Thank you, Vice Principal, sir.
Have a good time, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining.
Special thanks to Dr. Manjit.
Sir, Manjit sir. Manjit sir.
Yes, sir.
Should I continue in this meeting only? Or immediately speaker will join, na?
Speaker, actually Dr. Gupta, he will join within 10 minutes. So he will start the session in 10 minutes. So I think we can continue.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Can I start?
Yes, sir. You can start, sir.
So good morning, everyone, once again. So today we are going to start the first session about the sustainable manufacturing practices in post-COVID world. So before starting with sustainable manufacturing, we should know what is sustainability. And as we have been discussing from past half an hour, the importance of sustainability. So sustainability basically lies on three important pillars. That is the environmental aspect, the economic aspect, and the social aspect. And when we talk about sustainable manufacturing is basically, we can say that it is creation of certain products through processes that are economically sound, and they minimize the impact on environment by conserving our resources that are available to us. And furthermore, it helps, or the processes that we are using in manufacturing those products, they do not hamper the employees. They take care of the employees also, they take care of the community also, and they ensure that the product is safe to use. So that is sustainable manufacturing, where we are, while producing a product, we are taking into consideration all the three things, that we are manufacturing a product which is economically sound for our company or organization, and that is having minimum or no impact on environment. And also, while producing that product, we are ensuring the safety, well-being of our employees and our community. So that is sustainable manufacturing, and that is the need of our. So sustainable manufacturing can be very cost effective, and for doing that, we need to ensure that the efficiency of our equipment and processes are up to the mark, and we have to focus on activities that will lower certain things. Consumptions, like consumption of energy, should be lowered while we are manufacturing something. The time taken to manufacture the product should be lowered. The wastages are to be reduced, and overall the material that we are using, that needs to be reduced. So that will ensure us significant cost saving. And if we talk about the manufacturing organization, they are slowly working towards attaining these things. Like if you see or visit any manufacturing organization, they have now following the concept, or they have been following the concept of Kaizen. Kaizen, although primarily we talk about this term Kaizen, that is continuous improvement from the quality management perspective. But the Kaizen basically is a term which says that continuous improvement. And now the company's organization, they have formed Kaizen teams, and their objective is that how we do continuous improvement in our processes and our manufacturing. And one of the target of the Kaizen teams in manufacturing organizations is to reduce the use of materials, to reduce the wastage. And the target cannot means it is not necessary that target always is a very big target for them. That automobile manufacturing organization is there, the target is not that in one go they will reduce the total material used in the this preparing the automobile by certain kgs. That is not their targets. They say that continuous improvement and that small improvements. And the target for their Kaizen teams or the people who are involved in doing that, that is, even if we are going able to reduce 1 gram per component, that is the major components that are there, per year in our whole product, is 1 gram per component per year. So that is also a big thing from for them, that if we see the total sub-assembled components or total assembled components, and then see the improvement in the material usage, that is substantial for them. And over the few years, that becomes even more substantial. So these sort of practices are being followed by organization. Material reduction, that one example I have taken, is not only ensuring that the product is cost effective, it is ensuring that we have now, since we are using less material, we have now material left for further usage in some other products. So that is the concept of sustainability, that manufacturing organizations are adopting in one way or other. Now, why it is important, why sustainable manufacturing is important, because as I said, we are focusing on three important pillars, that is of economic, environmental, and social. So I have been an advocate of social sustainability first rather than the other two, because people are talking about environmental sustainability and working on environmental sustainability a lot. We need to focus on the social also. So that is why it's, when I say why sustainable manufacturing is important, first thing that comes to my mind is the good working condition. So that is related to the social sustainability. All three aspects are important, but for me it is social sustainability is the most important from the current perspective in the current world where we are living in. So good work to ensure good working condition, to ensure that we are complying with the regulations, whatever are set by the organization, good community relationships, treating suppliers fairly, that is also part of social sustainability, respecting human rights, ensuring product safety. Then comes the environmental perspective, that is we need to work towards waste minimization, reducing waste, reducing emissions, minimizing use of hazardous substances, protecting biodiversity, and using environmental sound materials and energy. So that is why we need to focus on sustainable manufacturing, not only from the environmental perspective, we have to think of other things also. Many organizations, they are exploiting their employees, they are exploiting their suppliers, they are not treating their employees fairly. And that leads to impact on other two aspects, that is economic and environmental. Because when your employees are not feeling safe, when they are not happy, they will not contribute much towards other initiative, that is environmental. So that's why we need to focus on sustainable manufacturing and think from all the three perspectives, that we need to ensure all three, or we need to balance all three in order to achieve our overall goal of sustainable manufacturing. Now we know that we are talking here in terms of the sustainable manufacturing practices or its importance post-COVID or during COVID. And we know the impact of COVID that had on our lives, or that currently we are facing. So COVID has ushered new challenges for manufacturing industry, and each day we are coming or we are facing certain new challenge, especially when we are talking about now during COVID, we have to ensure, first of all, safe working environment for our employees, because we have seen the spread of the COVID is when we are working in close contact with the certain people. So first thing, that the first challenge is that organizations are facing is to ensure the safety of the workers. And when the safety is compromised, because the workers won't be able to work properly, and then our supply chains will be compromised. And that's what I was talking about when I was saying that the disruptions in the semiconductor supply chain has caused means a lot of disruptions across the supply chains in automobile industry, in electronics industry, and we are seeing that now the waiting period of many models that were earlier available in 1 or 2 months has gone up to 6 to 8 months. So that sort of disruptions are there, and that is the major impact of COVID, that we have to, or the manufacturing organizations have to think about, first of all, about the health of their workers. They ensure that human health is not compromised, so that we can work towards our other sustainability goals. If our employees are fine, we can think about other things also. So, and we have seen the implications on our people who are doing work related to our healthcare sector. They are suffering a lot, and also due to that, now there is a stress on the demand of products required in the medical industry, and that has that has caused a lot of disruptions again in the manufacturing sector related to that. So when we are talking about now the pandemic that has impacted each and every country across the globe, we have to think now or the rethink from these perspectives, that three perspectives that we are talking about, that is environment, society, and economy. So we have to rethink what we were earlier thinking or change our mindset, that there has to be now new ways that need to be adopted, new innovative thinkings need to be adopted in our manufacturing world so that we can overcome these challenges. Further talking about this, now when we say that we have to rethink about how things are going to be, or we have to rethink about all these things. Now, a company or a country as a whole will be able to adjust or will be able to absorb these disruptions when they are more resilient. And the resilience of any country and its ability to absorb these shocks, these disruptions, is highly dependent upon how dynamic we are thinking, how innovative we are thinking, what is our collaborative capacity, and mainly what it talks about the term industrial commons. So industrial commons basically is our tacit knowledge that might not be directly visible to us, that not be tangible to us, but intangible, and the capability to develop through industry interaction. So industry commons basically talk about the knowledge we are sharing, the knowledge we are getting, or by interacting with our other peers, our industry people that are there, other industries that are there, learning from their failures, learning from their success. So any country need to focus on these things also. Recovery packages that governments are offering for manufacturing sector, they must be established on the basis of the disruptive changes that are happening, and think about the sustainable industrial development also. So when we talk about this overcoming these challenges post COVID, we need to think about now, as I am saying, innovative thinkings or new models of manufacturing. So when we are talking about new models of manufacturing, there is a term called circular manufacturing or circular manufacturing models that we need to adopt, and we will be discussing about what is circular manufacturing in detail in coming slides. So circular economic model has to replace the traditional linear economic model, where the circular economic model is focusing more on waste reduction. It is focusing on more synergy between local consumption and production cycles, and also sustainable production methods that are to be adopted by the organizations. And this local and our regional manufacturing networks, they are also playing an important role in overcoming these challenges, and these things need to be incorporated, or the local manufacturing need to be adoptable, or they need to adopt to new sustainable manufacturing practices, and also the digitization technologies like Internet of Things, so that they can be now more inclusive towards overcoming these challenges as a community. And we need to focus on this whole transition process. So local manufacturing networks are also having an important or major role in that thing. Now, our COVID crisis, it has exposed us to certain challenges, certain risks in our current manufacturing system. We have seen, when we are talking about the major disruption that has happened, we are seeing that there are shortages of medical equipment, especially in the first and second wave. We have seen seen that there was shortage initially of essential commodities also, because the manufacturing was stopped completely across the world. And this shortages supply chain primarily on the global source of this supply of material. So now when we are saying that COVID has exposed us to certain shortcomings, one of the major shortcomings is that we are now, we were earlier relying on in many products on the global source of supply. So with now our way forward is that we have to focus on the local production as well. And again, coming back to the chip shortage problem. So now after COVID, the governments have realized that our manufacturing sector, our economy is suffering a lot because of these shortages, and the impact will be visible more in coming years on our GDP also, because people are, even though they are having this money to buy, they are unable to buy the product because products are not available in the market. So there comes the role or importance that now we do not have to just rely on the global supply. We have to overcome these shortages in the supply chain. We have to overcome these disruptions by now focusing on the local production also. Local production using innovative things, innovative technologies for local production. Obviously, we cannot deny the benefits that are generated by globalized production system, both for developing countries, and the knowledge that we have been getting, the technology transfer that has been happening because of the globalized production, that needs to be there, but we need to have a parallel structure ensuring that we have the capabilities, or we have the internal capabilities to overcome these sort of disruptions that might happen again due to one reason or the other reason. So we have to detach, or we have to think about these two things separately. Globalized production should also go on parallelly, and we need to focus on our local productions also, so that we can now further learn by doing certain things ourselves also, and we will come up with more innovations, and also think about protecting the environment as a whole. So now this COVID has exposed us to certain risks that we have been discussing. Now, risk related to sustainability, then when we talk about, there are risks related to many perspectives that are there. Risk, when we talk about risk for sustainability, the major risk that is there is the increase in waste generation, especially when we are seeing the medical waste that is being generated. So this sort of crisis that has been there because of the COVID, we have seen across the world the use of this single-use disposable products such as globes, masks, face shields, and other equipments. And many of these are made from the materials that is not biodegradable. So there is a lot of waste that is being generated, and that is a source of environmental disaster in future. So we have been now we have to think from that perspective also. We have, when we are talking about now the increase in use of these products, we have to think of alternate solutions, that we make these products from biodegradable products in future, so that the waste generated can be easily managed. So a lot of products are being used now, especially in the waste is being generated in our medical sector, and a lot of products, as I said, are made from the materials that are not biodegradable. So and additionally, also we can say that because initially the markets were shut down. There were shortages of many commodities that were there, and also we were not able to develop proper. Means we have to make this transition so fastly, so quickly, that we were not able to develop ways of recycling these new products that have come. Because we have seen a lot of new products coming into the market, a lot of new industries popping up because of the demand of new products because of the COVID. But we, since our first wave of COVID until now, we have not been able to think of many new ways or recycling programs for these new products that we have developed over the period of time. And that is one reason is also lack of workers that are there and fear of infection among workers in recycling these products and disposing of these products. And that all has led to or in future that will lead to an enormous or catastrophic impact on our environment. And when we are talking about new products into the market that have been introduced due to the COVID, they have the impact on environment, they have impact on other things like social impact throughout its life cycle. Now, when we talk about the life cycle impact of any product, whether new or old, it is dependent upon the materials that is being used in producing that product. And that is the prime reason or the thing that we need to ensure that the material that we are putting in producing that product can be recycled easily, can be reused easily. But since this transition happened so quickly that we were not able to think of those things. Now, post-COVID, when we are now, we have fair knowledge about how things are going to be, what can be the possible demand of these sort of products. We have to now think about ways in which we reduce the use of non-degradable products in these sort of things. So any product, its environmental impact is depending upon the type of material we are using. We have to think about from that perspective that we come up with new materials. We think of new materials that can be used in producing these products. And because of the supply chain disruptions also, we are unable to use these materials or think about these materials, and we are forced to use these materials, that is the plastics and all, for these things, because there was a lot of disruptions in the supply chain. Material supply was not proper. There was imbalance between the supply and demand, and whatever was available, people were using that only. Now, with the development we have seen, most of them, like if we talk about the masks also, we are using mainly cotton mask, cloth mask there, that can be biodegradable. We are coming up with the innovative things that might not require use of plastics and all in future. So we have to think of new materials also, and we have to think of new modes of operations for manufacturing also, because we know that now because of the COVID, many organizations, most of the service organizations, they have gone to work through remote locations. But when we talk about the manufacturing sector, this is not possible 100%. But still, we have to now think of new modes of operations in manufacturing also, where we can limit our people who are actually, we can limit our workforce who are physically there and doing the production. One way that we can do, or the organizations have been doing, is we come up with the automation of the organization. That is, we come up with the use of Industry 4.0 that we have been talking for even before the pandemic, and we have seen global organizations using automation for that. And Industry 4.0 when we talk about Industry 4.0, that is the fourth industrial revolution, which we are in the phase of transition when we talk about the Indian sector. And when we see the difference between various industrial revolutions, first industrial revolution happened when we we moved from manufacturing products at our home through our hands to the manufacturing in factories with the introduction of steam engine. That was the first industrial revolution. Second industrial revolution happened when assembly line concept was introduced, primarily because of the use of electricity in the manufacturing sector, and the concept of assembly line that was introduced by Henry Ford in Ford Motors. So that led to the assembly line production, and the need was that need for second industrial revolution generated because of the now more requirement of the products, and the products need to be produced in mass, and that could be possible only in our through assembly line production, where we can produce in mass. Then third industrial revolution happened when we started using internet and computers in our organizations. And fourth industrial revolution is, people are saying that when we are using cyber physical system and we are using technologies like Internet of Things, cloud computing, big data analysis in our organization, where we are saying that we are making our factories so smart that everything can be controlled by a mobile phone or by a system, by a person sitting anywhere in the world. So any device, any equipment in our organization can be controlled by anyone who has access to it through any smart device sitting anywhere in the world. So that is the basic concept of Industry 4.0. And now these new modes of operation, new modes of manufacturing, if we adopt, we can be easily able to work with lesser workforce in our manufacturing, and ensure that even with the disruptions are there, even we are forced to have less workforce at our plant due to an outbreak of new version of COVID, our manufacturing is not impacted. We are able to work with lesser workforce. We can control our plant by sitting somewhere else also. Less supervision is required. More people can be working through remote locations, even in the manufacturing sector. So that is now the need of the hour, that we quickly move towards those things, because we see that fourth industrial revolution concept came up around 2011 in Germany, and now they are saying that we are moving towards fifth industrial revolution, that is Industry 5.0. But in countries, developing countries like India, we still are not able to achieve Industry 4.0. So we are still in the transition between 3 and 4, third and fourth revolution. So we need to quickly now adopt to these technologies, so that we can easily operate along with COVID and even in the post-COVID world. Now coming back to this major challenge that we have been facing, or the risk related to sustainability that we are facing, is because of the medical waste that is being generated. So this medical waste, or managing the medical waste, is of importance to us. The problem, as we have been discussing, is that now the healthcare sector has been overburdened. There is an unusual demand rise in the masks, gloves, other protective equipment that we are using, and if they are not managed properly, they can lead to further infections also, and they will be having a disastrous impact on environment in coming years or in future, that we are unable to see right now, but our future generations will feel that things. And WHO and other organizations, they have their guidelines how to manage these waste, but we know we as a country, or the infrastructure that we are having, we are not able to manage that properly. So that is our problem. Now the challenges related to that is that for managing these things, we need to ensure that our facility production as well as this recycling facilities to be utilized to a maximum, and we follow during operations our standard procedures that are there. So now United Nations organization or United Nations Environmental Protection has suggested some ways to overcome these challenges. They have suggested short-term and long-term response for managing the post-COVID medical waste. In the short-term response, they have said that we set up an inventory management system, and so that our capacity is fully utilized, optimize our utilization. And we set up a 3S methodology, that is sorting, segregating, and storage of COVID medical waste. And it should be separated from the general medical waste so that we are able to contain the infections also, and also we are able to further manage that waste in future properly. And under long-term response also, they have said that we need to set up guidelines, we need to set up policies for waste management. We have to have strategies for household and waste, medical waste management strategies, and we need to adopt sustainable assessment technologies. And especially they said that from the manufacturing perspective, we need to focus on circular economic practices that are saying that whatever we are using, any material that we are using, it should not go in waste. The material we are using should be either reused, or it can be recycled, or it can be repaired and again reused or consumed unless it is finally consumed. So that sort of practices we need to adopt in our future or now in this post-COVID world. So there are a lot of risks that we have discussed. So far, major important thing related to sustainability we said is waste management. Now, these can be tackled primarily through these three things. As I said, circular economy is the most important one that our United Nations Environmental Protection Program also have said, that we focus on circular economic principles. Apart from that, this data availability and transparency is important, because we need to properly have information and knowledge about how much waste is being generated, how much products are there in the market, so that we can set up proper guidelines and proper recycling facility or other facilities for circular economy. And then we need to have responsive capacity also. Now, coming to the first one under this, that is the circular economy. So when we talk about circular economy, so we, as I was saying, that circular economy talks about things like we need to focus on our manufacturing in such a way that there is no waste that is being generated across the supply chain or across the whole value chain in which the product is being used. So every material that is going into producing a product, in future when the product's useful life is over, that material should be usable somewhere else. That material should be recyclable. That material can be either refurbished or reused in one way or other. So that we need to ensure. So that is the basic principle of circular economy, that nothing goes to waste. Anything that we are using in a material, that has to be used in one way or other way. So we know that every manufacturing process, it generates some sort of waste during its whole life, and we need to think of principles or think of the ways in which this waste can be reduced. Circular economy basically lies on certain principles. Primarily, we are saying that there are 6 R's that we need to focus on when we talk about the circular economy. That is, reduce the material usage, reuse the material whenever it is possible, recycle the material wherever it is possible, recover the material even if the product has been disposed of somewhere. We need to recover the material wherever it is possible. We need to remanufacture the product using the same old material, and we need to redesign things. So that is the basis of circular economy also, that we are working on 6 R's. Now people are further worked on circular economy. They are saying that there are not only 6 R's, there are additional R's also. So that is a continuous evolving process. People are working on finding new and new ways in which we can recover the material. We can ensure that nothing goes to waste. It means what, even if it is a waste for one organization, it can be a material or raw material for other organizations. So that is the concept of our circular economy, that now we develop things or the new products that we are developing, we have to think from that perspective, that whatever goes into that product, it has to be utilized in one way or other way, whenever the useful life of the product is over or the product is now being disposed of. Even during disposing of that product, we need to think of that the products or its materials can be reused. So the product development process also needs changing here. So the product development process, product design process also needs to be changed, and we have to think from that perspective, that now the new product that we are designing should comply to these principles, that we are able to recover, reuse, or recycle as much as possible. So that is the one way in which we can think about managing the waste. Next is related to the data availability and transparency. So that is also important, this data availability and transparency, when we talk about from the circular economy perspective, because we cannot work towards recycling or reusing the product unless until we know completely about the data, about the complete data about the product, that is its availability and all, unless until we know at which stage of its life cycle the product is. So this 6 R's that we have been discussing, so they optimize the waste management, but we need to know actually exactly that product is at which stage of its life cycle. When the product has reached its maturity stage or towards the end of its life cycle, we need to know exactly how much products that are there in our system, in our value chain, so that we can now work towards developing that sort of recycling or circular economy related practices, or enhance our capability for recycling and reuse at that stage. So at each stage, we need to have more data about the product, transparency related to how much is being produced, how much is being used, how much is being disposed of. So everything needs to be clear to us if we want to effectively manage our products. Now, third important thing that we were talking about is responsive capacity. So responsive capacity basically talks about the capacity of waste management services that we are having related to the type of materials that we are using and type of products we are producing. And this we need to have more responsive capacity, not only not only at a certain location, but now we need to develop more local and regional capabilities for recycling, for recovery, for reuse of the components. So a few years back, we could see only that we have recycling facilities only in the metro cities. Now the recycling facilities are even coming up in small cities, towns, now where you can easily go and dispose of your materials, and then they will recycle it and reuse it one way or other. And also organizations, especially the electronic component organizations, electronic products that are there, they need to make people aware about this waste management more, because when we buy any electronic products, like we buy a mobile phone, now disposing of that mobile phone is not our responsibility as a user or as a consumer. It is the responsibility of the company who is selling the product. So for that, there is a mandate by the government also that they have to be responsive about these things. They have to tie up with the waste recycling companies, but they need to make users aware, because most of us, we do not know that it is the responsibility now of those. If our products means life cycle is over, we are done with our product, we can go back and give them the product so that they dispose of that product, recycle that product, so that it does not generate waste in our country. But most of us don't know, and now organizations who are producing those products, they should make the customers more aware about their responsibilities and the facilities that are there. Now next is when we are talking about the life cycle impacts, or how these products are impacting the waste generation at various stages of the life cycle. So we need to not think about from three different perspectives. That is from the demand perspective, digital technologies we are using, and the local production facility, whether it is available or not. Now we need to first of all improve demand visibility. When we talk about the life cycle impacts, so first thing is improve demand visibility. Now we know that this pandemic has caused disruptions, and there is a lot of changes related to the consumption of the products and demands of the products. So there is certain increase for demand of certain products like medical supplies, like we have seen demand of products of things required from working from home. We have seen demand in the products like our laptops. We have seen demand of products like office chair and table, so that because more people are working from home and they need to have their own setup. So some sectors demand have gone up, and other sectors the demand has decreased drastically, because many people do not have money to buy those things because of the job losses and other. So these variations in the demand pattern, they need to be captured properly. And when our online portals, e-commerce platform, they have an important role here, that they can capture this demand easily, because many transactions are happening through online portal because of the COVID scenario here. So with proper capturing of data, especially over the past 2 years data, if we can see, we will be able to better predict the demand. So demand visibility can be more there if we are able to predict the demand properly with respect to the things that have been purchased or that were not in demand. And with better demand visibility, the benefit of demand visibility is that we will be producing, it will help the organizations, manufacturing organization, to produce only what is necessary. Unnecessarily stockpiling can be reduced, and if the organizations are producing only whatever is necessary, that will also reduce the load on our energy and resources. So whatever only is necessary, that is being produced. Unnecessarily, we are not stockpiling products in anticipation of the demand. So improving the demand visibility is very much important now in post-COVID world, and our online platforms can help us in that direction. Digital technologies is second thing that is important. When we talk about from the life cycle perspective also, we have discussed about the importance of digital technologies also, that we need to now focus on adopting industry 4.0 technology. We need to move quickly towards fourth industrial revolution, and also we need to use such technologies that can be better able to predict the life cycles impact of a product. They can help us tell that when the useful life of the product will be over, when the product will be discarded, and what can be the possible environmental impact when the product can be discarded in the future. So this also has an important role. Third thing that we were talking is about the local production. So local production is now necessitated because of the disruptions that we have seen in the supply chains globally due to the pandemic, and we never know when the fourth wave will be there, and again there will be disruptions. So we need to, as I was saying earlier, we need to not completely rely on the globalized source of production or globalized supply of material. We need to develop local production also. And when we talk about from the supply chain perspective, it is always said that it is always better that we have for any material or any product that sub-assembly or product we are using, it is always better that we have two source of suppliers. And if we are able to match the quality of the product locally, that would be having more benefits for everyone. So we can have through local production, we can have more jobs also that will be created. There will be certain flexibility that will be with us as a manufacturing organization, and we can work closely with our suppliers who are locally situated for producing sustainable products. So we won't be stockpiling much in our inventory. We will be producing whatever is necessary, and we can work towards the concept of just in time when we are saying that we are now going to produce locally here. So next is that we were talking about new modes of manufacturing operations like Industry 4.0, digitization technologies, to ensure that even sitting at somewhere else with less workforce, we are able to run our factories, our manufacturing plants to the full capacity. For that, we need certain other things also, like continuity of operations and reskilling and upskilling the workforce. Because when we are saying that we are going towards digitization, we are going towards adopting new technologies. Obviously, the people who are working with the old technologies will be resistant to that. So we need to make them unlearn the old things, learn the new things, that is reskilling and upskilling them with the new modes of production. So coming to the first thing, that is continuity of operations. So when we are talking about continuity of operations, so we are also talking about from the sustainability perspectives. So we need to think from the sustainability focused perspective, and also we need to make our organization pandemic ready, so that whenever there is that sort of scenarios, so we are able to continue our operations without disruptions. And we need, for that, we need to have better tie-ups with our suppliers, we need to have better tie-ups with other manufacturers, and we need to have a more synergy in our supply chain by introducing what we were saying as more local production facilities, developing more local suppliers that are also working towards the achieving sustainability goals. And these local suppliers will help us to be more resilient. Our supply chains will be more resilient. There won't be much disruptions in our supply chain. Second, that we were talking about this reskilling and upskilling of the workforce. So because of this pandemic, we have seen that many people have lost their jobs also. Only people with certain skills are able to retain their jobs. And when we are talking about the digitization, as I'm saying that we need to make certain changes in our organization. And with changes come the resistance. People who are used to old technologies will be resistant to work in the new directions, new technologies. So if a person is being comfortable using a manual drafter for designing, if you ask him to suddenly switch to the designing software like CAD, he won't be very happy. So we need to first of all talk to them about the benefits of these changes, and also then make them unlearn the old things, learn new things by providing training and upskilling the workers, so that with the changes that we are trying to introduce are easily acceptable and by the workers, and they work towards those things by easily adopting those new skills. So that will help us in achieving our goal of sustainable manufacturing in coming time or coming years. Now, these are the certain things that we need to focus on. Most important things, if we think from our perspective here, is now we are talking about certain things like circular economy. We are talking about adopting digitizations. So now we need to have, basically we need to have certain innovations in manufacturing. So we need to adopt innovative things in our manufacturing world, and there is a lot of importance of innovations. And as mentioned here, that innovation does not occur in vacuum. So we need to build on current capabilities only. We need to think from the perspective of what skills we are having currently, what products we are producing currently, and then work towards achieving the competitive advantage through certain changes in those products, in the skills that are there. And that's what we are calling as the dynamic capabilities of the organization, and which is referring to the interaction between competencies that are internal to the organization and those that take place in context within which the firm's activities take place. And as I said in the initial discussion, industrial commons is such terms where we are able to have we are able to share the knowledge with other competitors, other manufacturing organizations that are there within our whole industrial sector that is available. Our R&D know-how, advanced developments that are there, that can be shared and learned. So industrial commons, when we use this term industrial commons, they tend to have a geographical components as a result of people, because skills are related with people. And the other thing that we are talking about, that is decade knowledge that cannot be observed tangibly, that can be intangible. And because of the people moving from one firm to another within a region, or collaboration between the organizations in a supply chain. And these industrial commons play a very important role in innovation, because now we are able to share our knowledge, share new technologies with others also that are in our supply chain, that are in our common industrial clusters that are there. So we need to cluster within a specific sector as well as across sectors of activity, and that can help us like outsourcing certain things, outsourcing our production facilities, bringing up means more specialized manufacturing facilities. Like one organization, they might be specialized in certain digitization technologies, so they are sharing their skills with us. So we are now able to learn from them more and share their skills, their knowledge, even their technologies. Especially this is importance of innovation or this industrial commons in current perspective, because this COVID crisis has exposed the this fragility of the idea of separating R&D and manufacturing processes. So where we are saying that manufacturing is embedded in local regional networks, economics have been able to respond faster and adopt to new realities. So we are, wherever the manufacturing is more local, like we talk about the countries like China, so they are not relying on the global supply chain, but the globe is relying on them. So they have seen lesser disruptions at their end. So they were more prepared, their factories didn't suffer there. So we need to have that sort of means now separation, like R&D. Maybe when we are talking about the R&D sector, we can collaborate with people across the globe to share the knowledge. The industrial sector or our industrial common can be spread across the globe. But when we talk about the manufacturing sector, we need to focus now post-COVID more on our local manufacturing also, and local world also. We take the example of production of this medical equipment like this PPE kits. So manufacturing in countries like China and other countries like Turkey, they have been able to adopt better because they have developed industrial commons with a combination of their manufacturing capacity, access to the raw materials, and most importantly to the knowledge as well as the other standardization capabilities that were. So they had more knowledge about those things. They have raw materials available with them. They have the supply. They have the capabilities. So they were able to adopt better and provide even across the world. Initially, the whole equipments, medical related equipments were supplied from those countries. So that is the importance of innovation, industrial commons in the manufacturing environment. And when we talk about the sustainability perspective, so again, the importance of environment also needs to be thought of in the manufacturing world. So when we are saying, we are talking about the current manufacturing world, currently the global manufacturing models, mostly in most of the organizations across the world, they are relying on the linear production system, which are generating a lot of waste and polluting the environment. So the disassociation between production and consumption system also has a lot of impact on environment and has environmental consequences. Now we need to think about certain things. So negative impact of manufacturing, that is referred to as externalities. So they are not appreciated by the consumers, or their consequences, they are not known by the consumers. So now we need to think about from that perspective, as I was saying, that now the manufacturer of a mobile, they need to make people aware that we have a facilities where we can give our mobile that, so that the mobile can be, or the component can be recycled easily. So global production chains, we are again talking about the global world in which we are manufacturing and sending our products or supply chains. So global production chains make it highly problematic to trace the manufacturing process, from starting from the resource extraction to processing of raw materials, transport of goods, and final goods. So many new technologies have been developing, like we talk about the blockchain technologies. So they are able to help us trace all the sources. With the adoption of these technologies like blockchain, everyone in the system, if they have access, they know if the product I am using today, or the laptop I am using today, whatever the components are there, the one component might be manufactured in somewhere in China, one component might be manufactured somewhere in Sudan. So that what is the source of that component, how it was extracted from there, how it was now transported, how it has been moving, what can be its impact. So everything can be known with more transparency. And when we know those things, so we are now more environmentally aware, and we will be working towards reducing those things or reducing the use of those things or consumption of those things. And when we talk about this COVID world, so this manufacturing world now has very much importance of the recovery strategies post the COVID scenario. So the new normal that is emerging requires us to rethink in the ways which we produce and consume the product, right? So that we shed more light on manufacturing and its role in diverse economies. So we need to have a sort of symbiotic relationship between consumption and production cycle if we have to think about a sustainable future. So there can be certain enablers for that, for emerging or for better environmental management post-COVID world. So that should be relying or centered across the innovation and circularity. So two important things or two important terms that we need to focus post-COVID is innovation and circularity. We need to have innovations in manufacturing. We need to think from the circularity principles, that what was the source of particular raw material, what materials we are using, how we are going to now reduce the consumption of those materials. So there are certain other important aspects apart from the innovation and this circularity. One is the contribution of local and regional manufacturing networks to regional economy. So that we have been discussing over the period of our last 1 hour, that we need to now focus on developing local and regional economics or manufacturing networks more and more. So we have seen also a new wave of manufacturers have come up who were not producing those products. Many people have started manufacturing products that they never thought of manufacturing. Some people are manufacturing raw materials for certain things. Some people are manufacturing the whole now product. So everything, or the people have seen that now even in the developed economies, certain things, or at least 20 to 30% of the products that they were earlier relying on the global sources, they have now reshored it to the local production facilities, so that they are well prepared for any future disruptions. So also our sustainable development goals, when we think of or when we talk about sustainable development goals, one of the important goal is the infrastructure that is there. So we need to develop local infrastructure also if we have to achieve the principles of sustainability in future. Another important aspect is spatial organization of manufacturing facilities. So here the role of strategic planning to spatially integrate production, innovation and technology in order to activate circular economic potential and transition to new form of sustainable manufacturing is essential. So regionally connected networks that we are talking about generating the regional production facilities. So these regionally connected networks play an essential role in mobilizing and ensuring safe reutilization of the recovered resources. So we need to ensure that whatever we are able to recover from a material, from a product, that is reutilized. Only recovering is not essential. Reutilizing that thing is also essential. And again, here the locally or the regionally connected networks, they will be helping us more in that sense, that we create a now synergy among those networks. Another important aspect that we have been talking is the green, circular, scalable customization technologies and Industry 4.2. So these things are the future that we need to adopt. And when we talk about the manufacturing sector, the beauty of manufacturing is, and also it's one of the main challenges come from its intrinsic materiality. That is, it means that it plays a major role in how resources are transformed and managed. So the combination of processes and technology that we are using, what sort of processes, what sort of technologies we are using, they are playing a role, a very important role in sort of outcomes or desired products that are there, or sort of waste that will be generated. And we can say that there are a lot of arguments about the origin of pandemic and its possible linkage with this biodiversity loss. So those arguments will always be there. We have to think of beyond those arguments now. So post-COVID economies have an opportunity to now rethink the manufacturing and rethink how the industrial metabolism will be there. And when we talk about the rethinking this, it is riding primarily on the green, on net zero that we are generating, on positive carbon emission, not negative carbon, circularity throughout the supply chain, throughout the value chain, incorporating innovations that are scalable. That means innovations should be there, but it is not that those innovations that we have introduced, they are not scalable. We have to ensure that whatever innovations, whatever technologies, whatever means changes we are introducing, they should be scalable also in future, and that enable mass customization of products also, and they are able to meet the or adopt to the specific local needs, and it is built on the adoption of digitization technologies like big data, automation, blockchain technologies, where we are talking about the traceability of the processes and materials, and visibility of during the manufacturing processes. So that needs to be there. And finally, we need to have a mission-oriented policy for manufacturing to recover post-COVID-19. So government have been thinking, coming up with new these policies each and every day. Recovery packages have been announced by the governments across the world, but it should now not only the announcement of the recovery packages should be there, but we should have a mission-oriented approach, that we should take our manufacturing at the core of this our various strategies when we talk about the post-COVID economies, so that we have now greater resilience and response capacity if we are ever faced with such scenarios in future. And when we talk about our role being a faculty or being a trainer or being student, so first role is that being a faculty, we need to have awareness about these technologies when we talk about the achieving sustainability in future. So unless until we ourselves have awareness about these things, we won't be able to train our future leaders or future people who are working in industries. So it is important that we also understand these concepts. We also understand importance of these things, so that we can train other people also and think about now more sustainable ways, more innovative ways, and more circular economic manufacturing practices that need to be incorporated to recover post-COVID and be a sustainable and resilient manufacturing economy. So that's all from my side. I will stop here. So if you have anything to discuss, we can discuss.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Very insightful lecture, and I hope all participants would able to learn what happened and what is going to happen, and how the industrial revolution start, and how COVID has changed the way of manufacturing, what manufacturer need to do in future. So if yeah, I am already reading, lots of comments are coming, like wonderful session, very excellent session. Thank you, Dr. Himanshu Gupta, to make such a wonderful session, and it would be, I think, very helpful for those who are planning to do research in this area, because most of insights which you have discussed are not there in we can say textbooks, because it's already developing, and it will come, it will reflect in near future as you discuss in the lecture. So I think all participants are very happy, and they are thankful to you. So from their behalf, I would like to thank to you. So to participant, if you still have if you want to discuss something, then please post your question in text box, chat box. We will discuss. And in the meantime, I would like to say that we have another session by Dr. Gupta at 2 o'clock, where sir will discuss about research methodology particularly. So particularly all of being a research community, we people are sometimes confused about research methodology. So nowadays sir is very aware about the kind of methodology being used in this kind of research area. So we will discuss that in next session. So this is from our side. So if you have any question, you can post in the text book, this chat box. I think, sir, no question. So we can
Okay.
hope that
Thank you, Professor Manjeet, for giving me the opportunity for this session. Regarding the next session, just I would like to brief that, as Professor Manjeet said, that we'll be discussing about the research methodology. So primarily we'll be discussing about the, from these aspects only that we have discussed, circular economy and digitization and all. So how we can evaluate manufacturing or organizations on this perspective through a one research methodology, and that will be helpful for you in conducting future research also. So that will be about the next session. So I think if we do not have any questions, so I may take your leave and join again at 2.
So one participant has one question. Who is this? Okay, can you please type your question actually? How to unmute yours? I am not aware about this. This is FDP 127. Can you you can say, you can switch on your video so that I can see you, and I will make you 127. Yeah, I got you. And how to unmute? Okay, you are, I think you can unmute yourself. Check.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yes.
Good morning. Yes, sir. Very nice session, sir. Yeah, I have 2 questions regarding professor's session. One thing is regarding medical waste, because the masks and PPE kits and other, how the hospitals are there following to segregate the things, and how they are doing this waste, sir, handling this waste.
So for this following or for handling the this medical waste, WHO has given clear guidelines that you follow the principle of, first of all, that you segregate whatever waste that is being generated due to this COVID and other medical waste. Because there have been organizations that are working closely with the this hospitals and all. They are collecting their waste and they are processing that. But now this waste, especially generated because of this COVID, that we are considering it to be infectious waste. So that for that, WHO has said that now you sort out that waste, segregate that waste, and store that COVID-19 related medical waste separately from the general medical waste volume. And now that has to be process separately, and they have made certain stopgap solution arrangements where they are doing that. And currently now they are in process of thinking more about in that direction, how to now process that in future.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And next one, now the mask. Now in every household, we have a lot of mask usage. So in our houses, there is no segregation we are doing. Actually, we are throwing in the corporation things they are, the corporation peoples, they are segregating or not, we are not, they done through the solid management systems. So how we can, any ideas to segregate the, or how we can reuse this masks related?
For that also, the WHO is saying that we use, or our government is also saying that we use primarily the mask made of cotton, so that they can be easily reused, rewashed, easily reused many times, and then we can even dispose of it easily. So that is not the problem. So clothes, mask, that is recommended. Regarding storage, that we need to, we as Indians or any developing country, we need to build those habits by ourselves, because government has been telling us, even to if we do not even talk about the COVID pandemic, the government has clear policy that we separate our dry waste separately and other waste separately. But still in our household, most of the times we see that 80 to 90% we are not doing that. We are just mixing up the dry waste and other, and then sending up, means in dumping to our municipal
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
these
sir.
habits we need to build.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Same thing, sir. And the final question, in your point of view, the innovation and circularity, these are the main important fact for sustainable manufacturing. Now, how we can use effectively the 3D printer for these two things, sir? Any input in this record? 3D printing methodology for using these, obtaining these SDGs.
Yes.
Yeah.
3D printing has been now used in many sectors. So 3D printing can be used for producing products, because the major benefit here that we can see using 3D printing is that the waste is not generated from that. We are in the traditional manufacturing, we are saying that now there is a material, we have a design, we are producing now product out of that design. We will be doing some manufacturing process on that. Product will be generated, some waste will be generated. So that waste we might use or not, that scrap we might use or not, that will be thrown somewhere else. So 3D printing, when we are using for manufacturing, there is actually no waste. We are just printing it by adding one layer over other. So we need to now adopt to these technologies more and more. So that is part of the innovative manufacturing things that I was talking about, that we can, yes, you said a very good example, that we can use 3D printing methodology also. Now recently you might have heard that IIT Madras had developed complete houses using 3D printing technology.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
So amount of waste reduction that has been possible because of 3D printing is enormous. So we can use that also.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Is any other question?
Yeah, in chat box, someone asked like the amount of electronic waste that is being recycled in India. So I think it's only 1.5%, because as I told that, as I text here, that the unorganized sector is there in India. That is a big factor that we cannot control, we can say right now. And this is what Dr. Gupta also explained, that the country which are developing their facility in-house is the next future production. So I think it is going to increase, like the because being an Indian developing country, we have tremendous opportunity in this area to recycle our e-waste. Okay, whether we convert into some useful products or whatever. So it's a great opportunity for all of us. So I think Dr. Gupta, we should wind up our session here, and we will meet at 2 o'clock. So research methodology will be discussed, and I think for research community and all teachers, the session will be very we can say helpful, and it will be very helpful for all the people who are doing PhD and research work. Yeah, thank you, sir. So at 2 o'clock I would like to see you all here again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.